Hey everyone, this is Mark, and in this video we are going to be going through the buyer's guide of Apple's laptop lineup. Currently they have three of them: the MacBook, MacBook Air, and MacBook Pro. They have very different uses and purposes, and the names alone don't really tell you a lot about what they do and who they are for. It's somewhat confusing, especially with the brand new MacBook Air. It really blurs the lines between what each laptop is meant for. So I'm here to clear those things up. I'm going to tell you all the features they have, what they don't have, their specs, and which one you might want to pick up based on your needs. First of all, let's start off with the seemingly lowest end one, the MacBook. It doesn't have anything after it, so it must be the basic one. Well, not really. So it has a base price of $1,299. That will get you a 12-inch laptop, which is very thin and light. In fact, it is the thinnest and lightest out of all of Apple's laptops. It comes in three colors: silver, space gray, and gold. The base model will come with a dual core Core M3 processor. It's clocked at 1.2 gigahertz, but it does boost up to 3 gigahertz. Core M3 is meant for mobile. That is what the M is for, and it is basically just a really low-powered laptop chip. The benefit of that is that it is fanless and it doesn't consume a lot of power. Battery life should be pretty good on it, but you're not going to be able to get a lot of performance out of it. It is a mobile CPU after all, so it's not meant to do a lot of video editing and that sort of stuff. Luckily, you can upgrade that CPU to a dual core i7. The base clock is only 1.4 gigahertz, but it does go up to 3.6 gigahertz. These are both 7th generation CPUs, so fairly recent. But even though you do have an i7, it is only dual core. The base model of the MacBook has 8 gigabytes of RAM, but that can be configured up to 16 gigabytes. It comes stock with a 256 gigabyte SSD, but that can also be upgraded to 512 gigabytes. And all MacBook models come with Intel HD graphics. As for ports, you are very limited in what you can get. There is only one USB-C port. That is USB 3.1 Gen 1. However, it is not Thunderbolt 3 at all. It is only USB-C. So any Thunderbolt 3 accessories you may have will not actually work with the MacBook. We just have a headphone jack, but that is it. You either have to charge your laptop or you can plug things in. You only have one USB-C port. That is it. As for the MacBook Air, we only have one size just like the MacBook. This has a 13-inch screen, however, and it does feature Touch ID where the MacBook doesn't. We have two Thunderbolt 3 ports and a headphone jack. And we only have one CPU option for this laptop. The only option you can get is a dual core i5 clocked at 1.6 gigahertz, boosting up to 3.6 gigahertz. The base model has 8 gigabytes of RAM, but that can be configured up to 16 gigabytes. And the base model has a 128 gigabyte SSD, but that can go all the way up to 1.5 terabytes. The MacBook Air has Intel UHD graphics 617, and it comes in at $1,199. And finally, we've got the MacBook Pro. I am only going to be talking today about the MacBook Pro with Touch Bar. The other one without Touch Bar just makes it even more confusing, and it hasn't actually been updated in several years. So I would not recommend going for that one. If you're going to go for the MacBook Pro, get the Touch Bar. But other than Touch Bar, it does come with Touch ID, just like the MacBook Air. And you only have 2 color options this time instead of 3 with the other ones. You only get silver and space gray. You can get it in a 13 or a 15-inch screen option. And based on your 13 or 15-inch model, you can get different specs. On the very low end of the 13-inch model, it has integrated graphics, but you can also spec that up all the way to Radeon Vega 20 graphics on the 15-inch MacBook Pro. The base 13-inch has a quad-core i5 at 2.3 gigahertz, going up to 3.8 gigahertz, but the highest-end MacBook Pro 15-inch has a 6-core i9 CPU based at 2.9 gigahertz, going up to 4.8. All MacBook Pros have a stock 16 gigabytes of RAM, but are configurable up to 32 gigabytes. They all start with 256 gigabyte SSD and go all the way up to 4 terabytes. And every MacBook Pro with Touch Bar has 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports and a headphone jack. Price is starting out at $1,799 for the base 13-inch MacBook Pro with Touch Bar. And of course that will go up very fast if you want other options. With all that said, what MacBook is best for you and which one should you get? So I can't really answer that, but I'm going to tell you who I think each MacBook is for. So first of all, the MacBook, the original MacBook, is for people who want to do email and web browsing and writing documents and spreadsheets and that sort of stuff. It's basically the Chromebook of Macs. Anything you do every day will work perfectly fine on that MacBook. Sure, you can spec it up to an i5, but it's only 2 cores. It's a low clock speed. It is completely fanless, which is nice. However, performance is not that great. Even with all that considered, it's still $100 more than the MacBook Air. So if you are wanting a very, very small screen, the MacBook is for you. But if you want to save money and get better specs, then the MacBook Air is what you should get. I can't really recommend the MacBook at all unless you want a 12-inch screen or you want 256 gigabytes of solid-state storage and you don't want to upgrade on the MacBook Air. With that being said, the MacBook Air is a pretty good laptop for most people. For students or for just everyday normal at-home use, it's a really nice machine. It has enough power to do stuff like photo editing if you want to do something like that. You can even do some light video editing if you want, but the MacBook Air is basically like the MacBook, just newer, a little bit better, and does pretty much everything you need day to day with some occasional harder tasks. And finally, the MacBook Pro is a little harder to say who it's for. Even though it says Pro in the name, the base models aren't even really Pro at all. If you are looking for something that has a little more power under the hood, then the 13-inch MacBook Pro with Touch Bar is a good option. But if you are an actual pro, the only way to go is the 15-inch model. You need that 6-core processor, and the dedicated graphics are really great. You can do some light gaming, and it helps with render tasks in DaVinci Resolve and Final Cut Pro. And the base 15-inch comes with a 6-core processor, which is going to really chew through footage quite nicely. I've been using a 6-core CPU in my Mac Pro for many, many years now, and it handles red raw footage, no problem. So there you go, the MacBook Buyer's Guide. MacBook is if you want a really tiny device with just web browsing features, basically. MacBook Air is if you want a little more power, a bigger screen, and a cheaper price. And the MacBook Pro is for people who really want to get work done on the go and have specific needs that require more power. So there you go. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, feel free to leave a like and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. This is Mark with Hat Tech, and I'll see you in the next one.